Hey YouTube, Shelko04 here. Hey, first do me a favor, subscribe to my channel if you like what you hear, and leave comments because all that's always appreciated. And I'm at 48 viewers now, or 48 subscribers. When I get to 50, I may do a dance. When I get to 1,000, I may run around naked. So these are incentives to subscribe. Today I want to talk about how safe are you in the workplace, and I don't have any answers for you. I just want to share some stories and give you some things to think about. And this is all in the recent wake of the violence that took place in Roseburg, Oregon a month and a half ago. And, you know, it got me thinking really about some situations that I've been in and how I wish they would change and, you know, just basically being a person in society and how safe you are. So I've got two stories to share with you. First off, about 30 years ago, I was working as a security guard at an outlet mall in New Jersey. And, alright, laugh. Are you laughing? You got it all out of your system? The New Jersey thing? Okay. Anyway, so I'm working as a security guard, which means that I'm dressed like a cop, but basically have nothing more than a flashlight on me. Keep in mind, this is, 1984. So, you know, things were okay. It was, a nice neighborhood, a nice area, you know, what have you. It was a woman's outlet mall. They sold bras and shoes and stuff like that. Anyway, one day, and this mall had a weird sort of S shape. So one day, I'm walking through the mall, as I did all the time, and I made my way around the corner, and I'm getting a distance feel here. The RV is 21 feet. I'd say about 21 feet away from me, there is a fellow wearing a trench coat in the middle of summer because he's got a shotgun out. And he's pointing it at somebody at the cash register there at the, there was a pharmacy in the mall as well. And he was basically in the process of robbing the pharmacy. So I had a thought at that moment. And it was like one of these thoughts, but I thought, I'm dressed like a cop, and I don't have a gun, I don't have anything, I don't have a radio, I've got nothing other than a flashlight. So what did I do? I backed up slowly until I was out of sight. I got in the car, out in the parking lot, I drove home, and then told my parents what was going on, because again, keep in mind, I was 19 or something at the time, 19 or 20. And so then my parents called the cops. Subsequently, the mall management called about an hour and a half later and told me I was fired. Big whoop. Okay, so there's that. Here's another story. I worked for a state organization in the Northwest, and I'm not going to say which, but if you Google me, you'll know that at some point I worked at Oregon State. Anyway, so there were two individuals in the department where I worked who I was told to keep an eye on. And one guy, we'll call him Brad, just so that I don't get any shit about giving out people's names. But Brad was in the next office over, and Brad would come to work and put on a Mylar jacket, like one of these, just the silver jacket, and he would put on a hat that was shaped like a pyramid that was made out of aluminum foil. And when I questioned him about it, Brad said it was because the lights that the organization was specifying for use in all of the buildings were substandard and were being underwritten by the CIA. And this was in their effort to control what we were thinking. Okay, there you have it. In the normal world, should this guy have been fired or sent to HR or something? Yes. But because he was working for a state organization, and what I've discovered, or the idea is, the bigger the organization, the harder it is to fire an individual. The less private an organization is, the more difficult you have dealing with individuals on a one-to-one basis. Because let's face it, it was a small company. And somebody, Joe Blow owned the company, he could just walk out and say, Brad, we don't need you anymore. And that would be it. Life would go on. Then there was another guy. We'll call him Dave. Dave was the big one. Now, Dave, before I got there, had made some threats against the lives of individuals who were still in the department. Dave was still in the department as well. Now, I worked in the basement of a building. It was an old house that had been retrofitted into offices. And the department I was in, doing computer support, was in the back right-hand corner of the building. It was in the basement, and as such, there was a window about that big, about that high, up above the block, right almost near the ceiling. Now, on my first day of orientation, my boss took me around to meet everybody. Then he took me around to meet Dave. And as we were walking after meeting Dave, my boss said, "I want to talk to you and show you something." When we got into the area where our group worked, my boss closed the door and gathered everybody around and sort of went over what the plan was. The plan was, if you heard gunshots, first thing you did was topple over the 2 or 3 filing cabinets that were near the door. And that sort of would block the door long enough. Now the door was over there. Over here against the wall, underneath the window, was a desk. That was the no man's desk. You never sat at that desk, you never put anything on the desk. The desk sat empty. And the chair, actually, instead of facing into the desk, sat sideways. Now why was this? It was because the idea was, we're going to block the door. The chair is one step up, the desk is another step up, and actually there was a computer tower or something up against the wall. That was the third step. That got you out the window. With that in mind, hopefully survive some sort of worksite rampage that everybody was weary of and fearing and thinking Dave might be capable of. Now, to talk for a little more about Dave, as I said earlier, he had threatened the lives of some of the people in the department. And as such, he couldn't be fired because, again, keep in mind, this is a big organization and we love our freaks. But the fact of the matter is, Dave had to go away for a while. And Dave was not allowed on the property of the place where I worked. So during the time, okay, so first off, Dave went off for a psychiatric review for a while and disappeared. And then when he came back, he still had like a month or two of cooling off. And so Dave's solution then was to sit across the street in his car and yell to coworkers from the window, like, what's going on and how's this project making out? And try to actually sort of, get back into the organization and be a team player. But the fact of the matter is, Dave was a freak, and everybody knew it, and Dave should have gone away. But those are my two experiences. Would it have been nice to have been able to carry a gun? I've got a concealed carry permit. I've got a gun. I might have felt safer. If not me, then maybe one of the department heads or the director for the group or somebody. It would have been nice to have known that there was somebody in there who was able to respond should something have happened. I'm just giving you my thoughts on how safe are you in the workplace. Is the solution better doors, locking doors, automatic mechanisms that lock, more surveillance, metal detectors at the front door? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. These are all things that you can work around. Maybe these are all things that you can get around. Is a solution to carry a gun? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's appropriate for where you work. Maybe it's not. But it'd at least be nice to have a few options other than just being a chicken flying out there in the wind. Anyway, these are my thoughts, and if you have any questions, feel free to message me or leave comments, and we'll talk to you later. Schalke 04 out. Thanks.